It's been a few days since I bought the brand new Sonos Move 2, and I've received quite a few questions from our subscribers on it. So in this video, I'm going to answer all your questions on Sonos's newest speaker. First question, can the Bluetooth input play in multiple rooms or just the speaker it's connected to? Multiple rooms, and the way you do that is you connect your device to the speaker via Bluetooth. And because the new Sonos Move, like the Sonos Era 100 and Sonos Era 300 speakers, which also came out in 2023, and I've reviewed both of those, like those speakers, this speaker can have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on simultaneously. With the previous Sonos Move, you had to hit the switch at the back and it would only do one mode or the other. And what that allows you to do is you can play your phone song via Bluetooth to this, then open up the Sonos app on your phone, and you can group in other speakers in your Sonos system with whatever's playing on this via Bluetooth, which is pretty cool. Next question, how is the battery life on the Move 2 compared to the Move 1? That is one of the biggest differences between the Sonos Move Gen 2 and the Gen 1. The battery life on this speaker is rated for 24 hours, which is more than double what it was on the Sonos Move Gen 1, which had a battery life of 11 hours. All right, next question. How does it compare to the HomePod Gen 2? That is a loaded question. Those speakers are designed pretty differently. Like, this speaker is obviously made with a battery that's replaceable, by the way, like it was in the Gen 1. That's the design intention of this speaker. It's one that you can pick up, move around with you around your home. The HomePod Gen 2 is not designed to do that. Another significant design difference between the HomePod and this speaker is designed to be a directional speaker, right? Your woofer and tweeters are basically pointed outward in a single direction. The HomePod Gen 2, like the previous generation of the HomePod, is the omnidirectional speaker. But what about how they sound? Well, for the HomePod, my complaint about the Gen 2 still stands. Its bass is very good, very impressive, like you feel it in your soul. This high excursion woofer that Apple developed that's just sick. It's really good. The downside to the sound of the HomePod, though, is the highs in your treble can sound very harsh, and it is just not the most pleasant speaker to listen to music on. The Sonos Move, on the other hand, it just sounds more balanced. And even though its bass is lacking compared to the HomePod, the sound on the Gen 2 just is a little bit more well-rounded. You hear the mids more in this speaker, where on the HomePod, it sounds like they just turned up the bass and the highs and like the mids get crushed a bit. I probably prefer the sound of the Gen 2 Sonos Move over the Gen 2 HomePod. Now, in terms of volume, both speakers have enough volume to fill a medium-sized room. If you have a really large space, though, that's where you'll likely want multiple speakers or a more powerful speaker. Also, the HomePod doesn't give you an EQ. The Sonos Move Gen 2 does, which I really appreciate. Now, before we get to my next question, here's a quick word from today's sponsor. Soundcore. The Soundcore Liberty 4 NC Earbuds are the latest buds from Soundcore, the audio division of Anchor. They feature active noise cancellation that adapts to each ear and the environment in real time, with Soundcore's adaptive ANC 2.0, which creates a new sound filter curve every time the user puts on the earbuds, making them better at adapting to various ear canal shapes and sizes and different environments. Soundcore claims these buds can reduce up to 98.5% of noise around you with their noise cancellation system, which features a high-performance in-ear sound sensor, low distortion driver, and industry-leading noise isolation chamber. Their 11mm drivers feature high-resolution wireless LDAC technology and high-hardness LCP for the driver with optimized curve design, making them better at adapting to different ear canal shapes and various environments. Plus, they have a fully adjustable EQ and monster 10-hour battery life for listening, with 50 hours in the case, and they support fast charging. You can pick up a pair for $79.99 US for a limited time using the link in the description below. So what are you waiting for? Upgrade your buds today by clicking the link in the description below, and thanks to Soundcore for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the Sonos Move versus the HomePod Gen 2. The other main design difference between the two speakers is the HomePod is really designed as a smart speaker powered by Apple's assistant Siri, and Siri, thanks to iOS 17, iPadOS 17, and the new HomePod software, it can actually play from pretty much any media streaming app that you have on your Apple devices as long as it's over the same Wi-Fi network. Its assistant can directly play from more services than the assistants found on the Sonos Move Gen 2 can. Through Amazon's assistant, you can use Spotify, Amazon Music Unlimited, and Apple Music. Through Sonos's own voice control, you can do Apple Music, Amazon Music Unlimited, and I believe Pandora, and that is it. The Sonos Move Gen 2 does not have support for the Google Assistant. All right, now there are a couple of other advantages though that the Sonos Move has. One is the new control surface area. Not only do you get an area for play, pause, skip forward, and skip back, but you get this really nice volume bar. You can just kind of feel it with your hand and adjust the volume, which I really like. Like with the original Sonos Move, you can also charge your phone and other devices from the speaker via its USB-C port. The other thing that I like about the Sonos Move Gen 2 is they added this mute mic switch that is a physical switch that disconnects the mic from powers. That just gives you peace of mind and privacy there. Also, another design difference between the Sonos Move Gen 2, other Sonos speakers, and of course the HomePod is this is actually weather resistant. It's not waterproof though, so don't go like throwing it in your pool and like expecting it to survive. But if you leave it outside, you're at a picnic or something and it gets rained on, it should be okay. It's also drop resistant as well. That is something that's different about this speaker than other Sonos speakers and the HomePod. Last question here, sound compared to a stereo pair of Era 100s. So far, I haven't really noticed much of a difference between the second gen sound and the previous generation. It's not like the substantial difference that you get when upgrading from a Sonos One to the Era 100, for example. If I only had budget for either the Sonos Move Gen 2 or a stereo pair of Era 100s and sound quality is primarily what I cared about, I would absolutely go with the Era 100s every time. You just get a wider sound stage, more noticeable bass. I think Sonos really did a great job upgrading the sound from the Sonos Ones to the Sonos Era 100s. All right, let me know your thoughts on the Sonos Move Gen 2. Were my impressions right? Did they align with yours, or did I get some things wrong? Let me know down in the comments, and if you have any other questions on the speaker, you can leave them there as well. Consider giving this video a thumbs up if you liked it, you found it helpful, and subscribe to the channel for more videos on Sonos and other speakers. And to see my other reviews of the newer Sonos speakers like the Sonos Era 100s and the Sonos Era 300, which is a Dolby Atmos speaker, you can get to those by clicking on the videos above. For 6 months later, I'm Josh Tedder. Thanks for watching.